Barry usually toward March 13th and 11th. He's at
Can I
London.
use your oxtail? Oxtail? Can I use this?
What's up, Sullivan? Hello. Yep. Oh, you watch my live stream, John? Hello, John.
Mm. But I'll show you how to make beef stew this weekend.
Mm.
In the craft your teacher will be proud of you. Yeah, you'd like it, Dad.
Can you get it? Can you pull it up on DVR?
I'm looking.
And gotta make the movie, Mom. Let's get the movie.
Yeah.
Right, Evan?
Nightly. Lester Holt.
Yeah.
And it's a win-win for you. And this year, I'm going to...
It's on. It's queued up. Boy. These brownies are good.
I hate this weapon. I change it next round.
You coming, Joe?
Yeah.
Lester Holt.
What black guy's named Lester?
Well, he's the lightest black guy I've ever seen.
Times as President Trump's impeachment trial begins, a fierce clash. The Senate's top Republican Mitch McConnell unveiling last-minute handwritten changes to his proposed rules. The move after objections from Democrats and within his own party. The big impact for the trial moving forward. The president oversees as the Senate debates his fate and reigniting his feud with teen climate activist Greta Thunberg. Also breaking the alarming new development of that deadly mystery virus outbreak, the first case in the U.S. confirmed. The CDC expanding screenings to even more U.S. airports.
We don't yet have complete information about how the disease is spread.
The steps you can take to avoid catching it. The bombshell, the chief of the Grammys after she was suspended for alleged workplace bullying. Her explosive claims about insiders who secretly controlled the nominations. Oprah Winfrey speaking out for the first time on camera, breaking her silence about a controversial decision, why she backed out of a documentary on women accusing a media mogul of sexual assault. The shocking moment caught on camera, a father tackling a wrestler who was squaring off against his son. The wild brawl and the charge that parent now faces.
This is NBC Nightly News with Lester Holt.
Beginning the trial to decide whether an already impeached president Trump should be removed from office has begun in earnest. It was a day of high drama and grave history in the U.S. Senate. 100 senators seated in silence. The Chief Justice of the Supreme Court presiding as House impeachment managers and the president's legal team immediately squared off over the trial's rules regarding witnesses and key documents. Republicans calling them fair, Democrats blasting the Republican-drafted roadmap as a cover-up, but managing to win an early concession from the Republican leader. Peter Alexander starts our coverage.
Tonight, President Trump is officially on trial. The Senate will convene as a court of impeachment. Both sides, House Democrats who will prosecute, and the president's defense team arriving in the Capitol. A dramatic scene on the Senate floor. All 100 senators, the jurors, warned not to speak.
Hear ye, hear ye, hear ye. All persons are commanded to keep silent on pain of imprisonment.
It follows a bitter clash over the rules. The Senate's top Republican Mitch McConnell saying he was following the Bill Clinton impeachment model that allowed each side 24 hours to make its case.
The process was good enough for President Clinton, and basic fairness dictates it ought to be good enough for this president as well.
But Democrats objecting to a key difference from the Clinton rules. New limits that would force each side to make those arguments over just 2 days. Meeting sessions lasting late into the night.
Why don't they want the case to be presented in broad daylight? On something as important as impeachment, the McConnell resolution is nothing short of a national disgrace.
Then a surprise. After at least one pivotal Republican raised concerns, a pair of last-minute handwritten changes, allowing 3 days for opening statements. And the documents from the House will be put into evidence. That small group of Republican moderates could be critical on another flashpoint, whether to call witnesses. Democrats demanding a vote now, including on former National Security Advisor John Bolton.
A trial without evidence is not a trial. It's a cover-up.
But Republicans argue House Democrats refused to subpoena Bolton when they had a chance, and that the vote on witnesses will come after opening arguments. Tonight, another key Republican who Democrats were counting on is sticking with McConnell's plan.
The Democrats say the Republicans are engaged in a cover-up right now. Your response to that?
Well, I think it's important to hear from John Bolton and perhaps other witnesses, obviously from both the defense as well as the prosecution. The right time for that vote, that decision, is after the opening arguments.
Later, with the Chief Justice presiding, both sides taking turns trying to persuade the jury. House Democratic prosecutors insisting the rules are unfair.
I believe the most important decision in this case is the one you will make today. Will the president and the American people get a fair trial?
And saying it would have taken too long to go to court to compel witness testimony.
The president may not defeat impeachment or accountability by engaging in endless litigation.
We're acting as if the courts are an improper venue to determine constitutional issues of this magnitude? That is why we have courts.
And for the first time, the president's legal team, which was not part of the House proceedings, now making its case, dismissing the Democrats' case as partisan politics.
Why are we here? Are we here because of a phone call? Or are we here before this great body because since the president was sworn into office, there was a desire to see him removed?
Inside the chamber, it was unusual to see all 100 senators sitting at their desks silently as jurors, many of them taking extensive notes. I saw some notes being passed from one senator to another, all of it before they're asked ultimately to render a verdict. Lester?
Peter Alexander starting us off, and we want to bring in now Casey Hunt. Casey, Mitch McConnell didn't really have the consensus on the rules today, as it appeared he did. What could that signal going forward in terms of the evidence and witnesses?
Lester, that's right. Those dramatic last-minute handwritten changes to the rules made just minutes before the trial opened came as a major surprise. And it has my sources on both sides of the aisle bracing for bigger twists as this trial unfolds, particularly on that key question of witnesses. And there is real pressure on those Republican moderate senators to show the American public that they're holding a fair trial. And that dynamic that we saw could mean it's more likely that people like John Bolton, who could potentially have damaging new information on the president, are actually called to testify. Lester.
All right, Casey, thank you. And as this drama unfolds, and we noted the president is overseas at the World Economic Summit in Switzerland, where he once again traded jabs with teen climate activist Greta Thunberg. Kristen Welker is traveling with the president.
With back-to-back meetings in the mountains of Switzerland, President Trump tried to show leadership on the world stage as the Senate impeachment trial got underway. But he could not escape pressing questions about the turmoil back home, including whether it was the right decision to leave the country on the first day of the trial for the Davos Economic Forum, a glitzy gathering known for bringing together the world's business elite.
That whole thing is a hoax. It goes nowhere because nothing happened. The only thing we've done is a great job.
For his part, the president tried to use the global summit to energize his supporters, touting the economy, key to his re-election.
The American dream is back, bigger, better, and stronger than ever before.
And he made new headlines, reigniting an old feud with climate activists, including 17-year-old Greta Thunberg, who was in the audience when the president announced the U.S. will join an initiative to plant 1 trillion trees, saying,
"This is not a time for pessimism. This is a time for optimism."
In her own panel later in the day, Thunberg seemed to fire back, saying it's not enough to plant trees, and adding,
You say children shouldn't worry. You say, just leave this to us. Don't be so pessimistic. And then, nothing. Silence.
Also making news here, Ukraine's President Zelensky at the center of the impeachment controversy, expected here in Davos tomorrow. In an interview with the Wall Street Journal, President Trump said he has no plans to meet with Zelensky, but he's open to it. Lester?
All right, Kristen Walker in Davos, thank you. And the president's team, of course, closely monitoring all this from Davos all the way back to the White House. NBC's Hallie Jackson is there for us tonight. Hallie, what can we expect the rest of the week?
Well, listen, Lester, today was about the rules of the road, but starting tomorrow, the rubber really meets the road, with House Democrats expected to make their opening arguments. You heard a bit of a preview of that today. If timing holds, then Saturday it will be the defense team's turn. Multiple sources tell me those attorneys will take turns trying to dismantle what they have described as a politicized impeachment case. Now, keep in mind, there are 3 different audiences here. Senators in the room, especially those key moderates, the American public, and the president himself, who wants to see his lawyers get an acquittal and get it quickly. Lester?
Yeah, Hallie, let's talk about those senators. 4 of them, Democratic senators running for president, are off the campaign trail as this goes on, including Bernie Sanders, who's facing a new attack from his 2016 primary opponent, Hillary Clinton. Here's NBC's Jeff Bennett.
Tonight, Hillary Clinton unleashing on her one-time rival, Bernie Sanders. Clinton, in an interview with The Hollywood Reporter, tearing open old wounds from their protracted 2016 primary that pitted Clinton against the independent senator from Vermont. He was in Congress for years. He had 1 senator support him. Nobody likes him. Nobody wants to work with him.
It's true.
He got nothing done. Senator Sanders
That's
today
his reputation.
unfazed by Clinton's
I know
comments.
people in
What's your
Washington.
response to that?
On a good day, my wife likes me, so let's clear the air on that one. Look, right now, today, I am dealing with impeachment.
When do you think the secretary is still talking about 2016?
That is a good question. Ask him.
The diss from the most recent Democratic presidential nominee comes as Sanders consistently polls at or near the top of the Democratic pack. It's just the latest dust-up for the senator. There was that clash with fellow progressive Elizabeth Warren, and Sanders now apologizing after a campaign surrogate wrote an inflammatory op-ed about Joe Biden. Sanders tonight fighting fallout from this presidential race and the last. Jeff Bennett, NBC News, Washington.
Also breaking tonight, the alarming headline of a mystery virus outbreak. The CDC confirming the first case in the U.S. and expanding screenings to more of America's major airports. We'll get more on that from NBC's Miguel Almaguer.
Tonight, the CDC says the infected passenger passed through busy SeaTac Airport in Seattle, the first confirmed U.S. case of the contagious coronavirus, now in Washington state. The male victim, in his 30s, is in good condition, still hospitalized in isolation after being treated for pneumonia-like symptoms after recently arriving from Wuhan, China.
I'm always concerned when there's emergence of a new disease and you don't yet have complete information about how the disease is spread.
With the infected American never facing health screening after landing, tonight all passengers arriving from Wuhan will be funneled through 5 major U.S. airports where heightened health screenings will be in place. But the CDC confirms when the American arrived in Washington, he showed no symptoms.
Wash your hands or use a hand sanitizer, especially before touching your face, since that's how the virus gets into the body.
With emergency measures being taken to stop the spread in China, the death toll from coronavirus has doubled to 6, as the number of confirmed cases soars to some 300. Capable of spreading person to person, screening is underway on airplanes, at train stations, and on city streets. Our Janice Mackey-Freyer is in Wuhan.
In this city of 11 million people, there's obviously
It's bigger
a lot
than New
of
York
concern,
City.
and people are taking any precaution they can to keep safe.
Tonight, combating a dangerous, mysterious virus now spreading across the globe.
Really?
Tonight, the
Where's
CDC
that?
tells me we should
China.
expect more confirmed cases
How
of
big's Hong
coronavirus
Kong?
here in the United States in the
I don't
coming
know.
days. And we should also
Bigger
point out
than that.
this weekend is the start of the new Chinese New Year, when many Chinese nationals will be traveling through busy U.S. airports like this one. Lester?
Daryl Almaguer in Los Angeles tonight. Thank you. We'll be right back in just 60 seconds with breaking news. Now, the ousted Grammys chief is now fighting back with explosive allegations.
Can't people just get along? No?
Match value. At Fidelity, you can have both.
Oprah Winfrey is speaking out for the first time on camera, defending her controversial decision to abandon a documentary accusing hip-hop icon and businessman Russell Simmons of rape allegations he denies. It's a move that has one of his accusers saying she feels sidelined by the superstar. Here's Kate Snow.
The only question for me is, what is the right thing to do?
Oprah Winfrey on CBS saying she knew her decision to pull out of a documentary about allegations against Russell Simmons would look bad.
I unequivocally say that I did not pull out because of Russell. This is not a victory lap for him. I cannot be silenced by a Russell Simmons.
Oprah says she believes the women featured in the film on the record.
I stand in support of these women.
But she also says she worried about inconsistencies in accusers' stories and told the filmmakers Amy Ziering and Kirby Dick she wanted changes and didn't want to rush to premiere at the Sundance Film Festival.
I thought some things were not right. I wanted the context of the story to be broadened. I wanted more women brought into the story.
The New York Times reports Oprah left the project after showing the documentary to director Ava DuVernay, who gave a harsh critique. In December, Simmons posted this video questioning his accuser's credibility on Instagram.
Fame and fortune are catalysts for untrue accusations.
In an open letter to Oprah, he said, "I have never been violent or forced myself on anyone."
He has millions of followers. I have like 1,000. And he's using all of that muscle to try to drown out our voices.
Drew Dixon is an accuser at the center of the new film. After Oprah's withdrawal, she told the New York Times, "I am being silenced. The most powerful black woman in the world is being intimidated."
I do hope people will see the film, even make their own decisions about it.
The film set to premiere Saturday at Sundance. Kate Snow, NBC News.
Prince Harry is in Canada tonight with Meghan Markle and baby Archie. He was all smiles getting off the plane last night, and while they're hoping for a life out of the spotlight, their lawyers are busy threatening legal action against the media if they continue following and taking pictures of the young family. With less than a week until the Grammys, the Harry Academy, who was suspended for alleged workplace bullying, has filed a bombshell complaint, alleging a group of insiders have been secretly skewing the nominations. With more, here's Gabe Gutierrez.
Tonight, less than a week before the Grammys, the show's ousted chief executive is fighting back. Deborah Dugan had been hired to help address gender inequality, but last week she was placed on administrative leave. Today, her attorney filed a complaint with the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission and compared the Recording Academy's treatment of Dugan to those who defended Harvey Weinstein. The attempt by the Recording Academy to impugn the character of Deborah Dugan is a transparent effort to shift the focus away from its own unlawful activity. This blatant form of retaliation is all too common, even post-Me Too. A source with direct knowledge of the events had told NBC News that Dugan had been removed after the previous CEO's assistant of 20 years had accused her of a bullying management style. Dugan's attorneys say this all comes after Dugan sent a memo to Human Resources which reports concerns about voting irregularities, financial mismanagement, and conflicts of interest, among other things. In today's bombshell complaint, Dugan also alleges that the Academy manipulates the process to ensure that certain songs or albums are nominated when the producer wants a particular song performed during the show. The Recording Academy had said independent investigators were reviewing a formal allegation of misconduct, and that the move was necessary to repair morale.
Late today, the Academy responded, Lester. It is curious that Miss Dugan never raised these grave allegations until a week after legal claims were made against her personally by a female employee who alleged Miss Dugan had created a toxic and intolerable work environment. The Academy writes, our loyalty will always be to the 25,000 members of the recording industry. We regret that music's biggest night is being stolen from them by Miss Dugan's actions, Lester.
A lot of people talking about it. All right, Gabe, thank you. A dangerously cold night across much of the South, and a new storm threatening to impact more than 30 states. Al Roker is here. Al, what are you watching?
Lots of brutal wind chills for the southeast, including Florida, where wind chills will feel like it's well below freezing. And then we've got this system pushing out of the Rockies that is going to be bringing in really rough weather, heavy rain in Texas, a wintry mix to the north. By Thursday, there's ice and snow in the upper Midwest, slippery road and travel delays. Friday, it makes its way into the northeast with showers and thunderstorms from the southeast. Snowfall amounts anywhere heavy from the plains on into the northeast, and then look for a possibility of heavy rain through the southeast. Lester?
All right, thanks, Al. Still ahead, chaos at a high school wrestling match when a parent charged onto the mat. I'll tell you what happened next.
If you have moderate to severe
I
psoriasis,
can't understand how people don't have to own winter coats in other states. I'm like, really? That's not fair.
You want to move to Florida, Garrett?
30 degrees, though. That's freezing for Florida.
Yeah.
Where would you move right now if you could,
They
Garrett?
have snowsuits.
I don't know.
Choose a place.
Fortnite.
with a sole purpose.
All right, we're back now with a high school wrestling match that took a disturbing turn when a dad rushed in and tackled the teenager competing against his son. Here's Morgan Chesky with that.
It just takes 10 seconds for this high school wrestling match to go from an athlete's illegal throw to the mat to all-out chaos.
It's a illegal throw?
After the father of the losing wrestler blindside tackles the other team before being taken down himself. Officers arresting Barry Lee Jones, now charged with civil assault and disorderly conduct. Tonight, the North Carolina schools wrestling team says they're in shock, horror, and disbelief following the inconceivable action of one parent on a wrestler.
This is absolutely the worst. An adult attacking a child playing a game. It doesn't get any worse than that.
Brian Barlow started a Facebook page posting confrontations involving parents to show what not to do. In Tennessee, a softball game turned into an all-out brawl. In Virginia, a fight between Pee Wee football coaches and kids at this Colorado Little League game watched as parents threw punches. Tonight, the North Carolina school says the student athlete was not hurt in the attack. No word, though, on his father's pride. Morgan Chesky, NBC News.
Lucky's not hurt.
Up next, another home run for Yankee great Derek Jeter. His historic honor.
I feel bad for the kids that father did it, too.
Really?
How embarrassing.
Oh, Rachel.
You look crazy.
Mid-century.
The captain is going to Cooperstown. Legendary Yankee Derek Jeter has just been announced as one of the league's latest Hall of Famers. Stephanie Goss now with a slugger's incredible career.
If one play could get someone in the Baseball Hall of Fame, this would be it. Of course, Derek Jeter could also hit. When it came time for his 3,000, Jeter went deep. Today, the Yankees shortstop was inducted in the Hall of Fame. The kid from Kalamazoo became Gotham's golden child pretty fast. His 20-year run on the team began in 1995. In that time, Jeter won 5 World Series, 5 Gold Gloves. He was a 14-time All-Star shortstop and played in more playoff games than anyone in history. Tonight, in a move that really surprised no one, Derek Jeter is a Hall of Famer too. Stephanie Gosk, NBC News, New York.
Jeter missed unanimous selection by just 1 vote, but it would be hard to argue with his legacy. That's nightly news for this Tuesday. I'm Lester Holt for all of us at NBC News. Thank you for watching. Good night. Good evening, everyone. Breaking news tonight. Lester Holt. The Iranian camp here on the ground. We begin tonight with the most trusted TV news anchor in America.
Even if there will be some cut perhaps in reimbursements in certain areas, if you could do it in a way that doesn't hurt the bottom line for the providers or
In an unusual twist today, a local newspaper reported Swiss officials had uncovered an apparent spying operation by 2 Russians posing as plumbers in Davos. They suspect intended to bug the forum. Russia called the allegations absurd. When the president returns to the World Economic Forum tomorrow, reminders of his troubles back home won't be far away. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky, who the president is accused of trying to pressure into providing dirt on former Vice President and presidential candidate Joe Biden, will also be here. Ryan Chilcote for the PBS NewsHour in Davos, Switzerland.
In the day's other news, an outbreak of viral pneumonia in China has spread to the United States. Federal health officials confirmed a Seattle area man brought the virus back from central China. He's now hospitalized in good condition. Washington State Governor Jay Inslee urged the public not to overreact.
There isn't a risk level that would suggest people should be doing anything differently than they normally would. Like I said, this is not a moment of high anxiety. We should all do exactly what we always do, which is this is flu season, so we wash our hands, we cover our mouths when we sneeze.
Airports in several major American cities are now screening arrivals from China. Meanwhile, in China, the death toll grew to 6, with nearly 300 confirmed cases. In Wuhan, where the outbreak began, city workers sprayed disinfectant, and the mayor pledged to contain the virus. North Korea is warning that it no longer feels bound to refrain from testing nuclear weapons and long-range missiles. The regime today blamed Washington for ignoring a year-end deadline to make progress on a nuclear deal and ease sanctions. A North Korean official at the UN said that his country may seek what he called a new path. In Iraq, fresh street battles broke out in Baghdad between protesters and police. At least 2 of the demonstrators were killed. Security forces fired tear gas and rubber bullets as crowds demanded the government's resignation and an end to corruption. Similar unrest flared in southern cities. A member of Iran's parliament has now offered a $3 million bounty to anyone who kills President Trump. The lawmaker represents the home province of Qasem Soleimani, who was the general killed in a U.S. airstrike this month. But in Geneva, the American ambassador to a disarmament conference dismissed the threat.
It's just ridiculous, but it gives you a sense of the terrorist underpinnings of that regime. And that regime needs to change its behavior. Its behavior is what has gotten them to this point. And
his name Lester?
They learned a lesson by what's happened recently.
Iran's government gave no indication today of its support the threat on President Trump's life. A new caravan of migrants has been stopped along Mexico's southern border. Hundreds waded a river from Guatemala on Sunday. Mexican troops blocked their way. Families waited there today, monitored by police in helmets and body armor. Most were sent back to their home countries. Back in the United States, the Democrats' 2016 presidential nominee Hillary Clinton went after Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders her former rival and now a leading 2020 contender. She told an upcoming Hulu documentary that, quote, nobody in Congress likes him. Nobody wants to work with him. He got nothing done. Clinton would not say if she would campaign for Sanders if he won
And then she
the
said,
nomination.
just saying.
The U.S., that is, the U.S. Supreme Court has put off a new challenge to Obamacare. The justices declined today to grant a fast-track review, preventing any decision before the November election. A lower court had ruled the entire law was invalid after Congress gutted the individual insurance mandate. 2 major auto recalls are in the works in the U.S. Toyota says that an electronic glitch may prevent airbags from deploying in 2.9 million vehicles going back to 2011. Honda wants to replace potentially dangerous airbag inflators in 2 million older vehicles. And on Wall Street, stocks fell on fears that the viral outbreak in China will hurt economic growth there. The Dow Jones Industrial Average lost 152 points, closed at 29,196. The Nasdaq fell 18 points, and the S&P 500 slipped 8. Still to come on the NewsHour, heartbreak and hope amid the humanitarian tragedy of northern Syria, and how the humble Polaroid camera predicted our Instagrammable world.
This is the PBS NewsHour from WETA Studios in Washington, and in the West from the Walter Cronkite School of Journalism at Arizona State University.
The war in Syria has been waged for almost 9 years and claimed millions of lives. Northwest Idlib province is the last refuge for many Syrians opposed to the regime of President Bashar al-Assad. Meanwhile, in the northeast, Kurdish forces are dealing with a new reality that includes far fewer American allies. Nick Schifrin is back with this update.
In this camp in Idlib province, the mud is thick. The morning walk to get water is through what seem like permanent puddles. Life here is defined by the mud. It's where boys will be boys, and where little girls in flip-flops try not to slip, hanging on to tents that have become their homes. They are the displaced families who fled to Idlib because it was the last place to flee to. The displaced children who've seen things no adult should ever have to see. This is Afam.
We were displaced to this camp because of the airstrikes and the missiles. There is too much mud. There is no school. In my village, I used to play with my friends at school. My friends were killed in an airstrike, and I survived, then came here.
In this camp, children become caregivers, and they heat their hands on a blackened outdoor tea kettle. This family has been living here since May.
It is very difficult to walk because of the mud. The tent does not weather the cold or the storms. We don't have proper stoves for heating, and as you see, the conditions are terrible. My children are always sick because of the cold.
Nearby, this woman tells us she fled her home as it was bombed in the middle of the night.
It is too much cold and mud here. I'm getting sick all the time. I pray that we won't be flooded because of the rain. My fear is that we will get flooded and drown. I hope that I won't drown and die in the flood.
I've been going to Syria multiple times in the past 7-8 years. This is the worst I've seen in terms of the inability of the international community to accommodate to the needs of the displaced.
Zahar Salul is a doctor in Chicago who regularly returns to his native Syria to help. These scenes were all filmed by him.
I didn't realize
The
some of them were
Kafr
that
camp has
light.
more than doubled in population in the last 6 months. Because Russian and Syrian jets followed refugees to Idlib. There's supposed to be a ceasefire, but the airstrikes are relentless. In December alone, at least 65 children were killed or injured. And they're trapped between the regime in Russia from the south and the closed Turkish border in the north. Hundreds of thousands are settling close to that border, but Turkey already has 4 million refugees, and its doors are locked, says Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan.
This ceasefire must be conducted in a way to prevent 400,000 people from reaching our borders.
And for those people still in Idlib, they need to survive both the airstrikes and illness. In the camp, Salul treated whomever he could.
Everyone had some respiratory issues. Some of them had asthma, some of them had infections, some of them had pneumonia. Of course, everyone had psychological trauma because of the recent displacement.
Many families have been forced to flee the airstrikes multiple times. A local humanitarian group set up tents under a stadium's grandstand. And in a nearby former school, children with American superhero backpacks walk where the walls are full of holes, and where outside the windows, playgrounds have long been abandoned.
Every deserted building, every old school, every mosque were converted to temporary shelters. It was very cold in the building. There was this old piano that the children were trying to play with, but it was seemed like you are in a horror movie.
1,000 miles away in northeast Syria, the map is very different. The American footprint has shrunk from 1,000 to about 500. They're deployed with the mostly Kurdish Syrian Democratic Forces. But since Turkey's incursion in October, things have become more complicated.
You have this casserole of flags. Within several hours driving, we saw a Syrian regime flag vehicle, we saw a Russian flag vehicle, and then we saw a U.S. convoy.
Gail Tamak-Limon is a senior fellow at the Council on Foreign Relations and visited the region just before Christmas, her 8th visit in the last few years. She says there's a tenuous stability kept by the mostly Kurdish SDF.
Yeah.
It is a remarkable testament to the
Can
ability
people
of
hear
the
the volume?
SDF who fought
No, not really.
to keep in place a very fragile, pretty endangered, but still very real governance structure, keeping a level of security and
How many people
stability
are
in
watching?
place.
But the SDF
one.
is distracted from their fight against
I don't
ISIS
know.
by the incursion of Turkish forces
Hi,
who
Jack.
consider them terrorists and a displacement crisis.
If the forces who were fighting ISIS now also have to defend themselves and to deal with roughly 200,000 or so who were estimated to have been displaced by the incursion, you can imagine that the fight against the Islamic State doesn't become secondary, but it is competing with survival in terms of priorities for these folks.
Limon met with SDF Commander Mazloum Kobani, who spends much of his time
Either
negotiating
Griffin or
with multiple
Sullivan.
militaries deployed to Syria.
So far, it looks like a lot of discussion and a lot of discussion going on. There's a lot of conversation going on. I think that Mazloum no longer has illusions that the Americans are going to protect the Syrian Kurds or their gains, but he does ask that the Americans stay, right? He was very clear in our conversation, until a political process is in place.
But that political process is stalled. And so Idlib's displaced children spend every night around the campfire. Salul is with them, trying to find light in darkness.
We have children at this camp who've been here for about a year or so, and they're all beautiful and cute.
They sing a song called My Homeland about survival and happiness. And this is where, in their innocence, these children find resilience. To draw pictures, they use the mud that defines their camp. They use mud to leave their handprints and turn their hardship into hope.
Most of the children adapt to the situation very quickly, and they laugh, they smile, they play, they sing, they dream of future.
But they still live in Syria, where most of those dreams are nightmares. And while the adults try to distract the children with shadow boxes, the monsters here are all too real. For the PBS NewsHour, I'm Nick Schiffer.
All about why he just had to include Gwen in the video.
She is drop dead beautiful, and if I can have her on my video, people actually look at the
Camera dating back to 1947. The museum at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology is now telling the story of how the Polaroid era began and the artists who were there to make it happen. Special correspondent Jared Bowen, public media station WGBH Boston, reports it's part of our ongoing series on arts and culture, Canvas.
For Ansel Adams, it answered the call of the wild. Chuck Close used it to get up close and personal. William Wegman thought it was horseplay. It was the Polaroid camera, and when it came to photography, it changed everything.
You can see around me on the walls all kinds of surfaces and all kinds of ways of manipulating the materials. I think probably drove some of the engineers at Polaroid mad, because the artists were just ignoring the rules and just making it up.
Here at the MIT Museum in Cambridge, Massachusetts, just a few blocks away from where the Polaroid camera was invented, are decades of Polaroids. Virtually from the day it was born, artists were given cameras and film to experiment, says curator William Ewing, starting with Ansel Adams.
He was the bait. Ansel gets very excited at times. He said, oh, you should use it. They should use it in the theater. You should use it in astronomy. He gets really excited.
The Polaroid camera bypassed the entire process of developing film. For the first time ever, artists had an immediate look at their work.
It was a very small thing you could hold in the hand, but you had to participate in the making of the picture. The thing whirred and clicked. The picture came out and developed slowly, and that was described as magic.
I'm going to take your picture now, Jared.
Do you want me to pose for you?
Yes, please. Okay. Okay. And it's going to take probably 20 full minutes, but that blue sheet is the opacification, and in a couple of minutes, this will emerge. So I'm going to
20 minutes?
I know, it's not instant at all.
Deborah Douglas is the purveyor of Polaroid at the MIT Museum. The pioneer, though, was Edwin Land, owner of an innovation lab, who conceived of an instant camera in 1943 and launched it into top-secret development.
It's called SX-70. S for secret, X for experimental, and 70 because that's the number. It could have been 68, 69, 71, 72.
The camera was an ingenious combination of mechanics and chemistry.
All the little molecules are going around, and it says, oh, I need a red one here, a yellow one here, a blue one here. And just like your television that can combine red, green, blue on your screen and miraculously create the full spectrum.
The first Polaroid went on sale in Boston the day after Thanksgiving, 1948. It sold out in hours.
Land didn't actually believe in marketing. He was even skeptical of his own company's efforts in that front. He said, you just have to have a feel for this. This proved, by the way, very influential to a generation of entrepreneurs, most notably Steve Jobs and Apple.
Well, we're sitting on this floor right now that we would all recognize, wouldn't we?
Yes, as a rainbow stripe, and so it's not coincidental that the first Apple logos are rainbow stripes. That is an intentional homage to Edwin Land.
Of course, the cool quotient came from the artists, who were given cameras and film to take the technology wherever they wanted.
Freedom up from all those chemicals and the processes and the labs and everything else. You could control it all yourself.
Artist Tom Norton had his go at Polaroid in the early 1980s.
It's a vertical format. And I didn't want that. I want dancers to be jumping left, right. And so the only way to do that is to have a mirror system. So I made a mirror system that the camera was actually facing sideways.
Elsa Dorfman would use the Polaroid for portraiture. With Polaroid, Andy Warhol could be even more prolific. And Barbara Crane could revel in color.
These people felt they were part of a community. They weren't alone. So you didn't just do your photographs, bring them to Polaroid, and forget about them. They'd enter into the collection.
As we see here in a history and appreciation that's still developing.
We have to... No, you don't have to shake it. In fact, the engineers hated that.
For the PBS NewsHour, I'm Jared Bowen in Cambridge, Massachusetts.
And on the NewsHour Online, Meghan Markle and Prince Harry's decision to renounce their royal titles has sparked conversations about the current state of the British monarchy, as well as race and identity in the United Kingdom. We take a look at why Megxit marks a crossroads for that country. All that and more is on our website, pbs.org/newshour. And that's the NewsHour for tonight. Tune in starting tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern as our special live coverage of the impeachment trial of President Trump continues on PBS. And if you're not via TV, join us online at our website or on YouTube, also tonight. I'm Judy Woodruff for all of us at the PBS NewsHour. Thank you, and we'll see you soon.
Major funding for the PBS NewsHour has been provided by
Star Service. But when you call, you'll always
speak to a live person. 2, your house is our house. We treat it like our own. 3, we'll give you all the options before we do any work. 4, all of our trucks are fully stocked, so most repairs can be done the same day. 5, we're a family business, so we only hire people we'd allow in our own homes. So if you want 5-star service, just call Royce at 873-5000. We'll take the worry away.
You're watching News 4, your local news leader.
We have quite a night, over $20,000 cash and prizes. Who's in the audience with you?
My husband, John, and my mom, Rita.
All right, you're pretty happy about things, too. Can't blame them. Nice spin the wheel. There's $100,000 out there somewhere, you know. It could even be there. You never know. Thank you. Cherry, honey, come on, we're going to head this way. You're going to start with this first mark, and then you're going to solve the puzzle that sets the plan. You chose around the house in this category. R, F, T, L, and U. Start with those letters. All right, time for you to do some work. 3 more consonants, 1 more vowel.
D, F, C,
And your vowel.
O.
Until we get out of all that.
Not old.
That's not much. We have one descriptive word here, and you can come up with the other. I don't know, looks tough. Around the house, 10 seconds. Talk it out, you never know.
Old vinyl.
Title? No.
Old vinyl players, old vinyl.
You know, it was vinyl. That was really? To me an amazing.
Oh my gosh,
vinyl.
albums.
I know.
I didn't even think about that.
Let me explain, boys and girls, what now. That would have been awfully nice. You did a nice job on that. You sure did. $20,648. You stay right here. And I'll be back. We might even be in England someplace, somewhere in the UK.
In case you missed it, here's tonight's bonus puzzle. Log on to wheeloffortune.com for your chance to win in our Collect UK giveaway.
On a collect tour of Great Britain, discover the natural beauty of England, Wales, and Scotland.
No.
Explore the city of Edinburgh. Scotland's capital is steeped in history, with some must-see points of interest.
Situated atop that ancient volcanic rock is the breathtaking Edinburgh Castle.
It is the most visited spot in Scotland.
One of the most prominent vistas in Edinburgh, Halton Hill is also famous for its historic monuments.
Including the National Monument of Scotland and the Nelson Monument. Victoria Street is one of Edinburgh's most distinctive streets.
Colette, travelers first since 1918. Visit Colette.com.
So Harry Potter's a big deal here.
Yes.
Author J.K. Rowling lived right here in Edinburgh, wrote most of the Harry Potter series here. Some in the local cafes. I think she's in there signing a movie deal right now.
Ooh.
Now, do you have any other tidbits?
Yes, the unicorn is the national animal of Scotland.
He never fails us. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Want to try out for Wheel? Find out at wheeloffortune.com.
Tune in again tomorrow night.
For another chance to win a Colette guided tour to the UK.
Dear road rivals, charging extra for Apple CarPlay? You're kidding me, right? To get Apple CarPlay in a Honda Accord can cost a lot more. In a Camry, it's standard. Just saying. Camry. Toyota. Let's go places.
Here's a trivia question. Who has the lowest prices on home appliances in Western New York? Hint, don't look too far. It's your local Orville's. In fact, with their low price guarantee, Orville's will beat any other store's price. Seriously. Want to start using your new appliances ASAP? Even today or tomorrow? Good news. Orville's has the area's fastest delivery. So for the guaranteed best deals and buying experience, head to Orville's. No question about it. Orville's, your home, our life.
Car crash? It's time to focus on deadlines. After a serious motor vehicle crash, missing just one deadline can have a serious impact on your case. There are deadlines as short as 90 days, 30 days, and even 10 days. At William Mattar, it's our job to meet the deadlines and protect your claims. Because after a crash,
You need to focus on getting better and let us take care of the rest. Call the firm with the focus, the firm with the force. Call 444-4444.
Dear road riders, charging extra for Android Auto? You gotta be kidding. To get Android Auto in a Honda Civic can cost a lot more. In a Corolla, it's standard. Come on, Corolla. Toyota, let's go places.
The Vinyl Outlet working year-round. Enjoy 30% off and special financing.
This is Jeopardy! Today's contestants are a high school English teacher from Los Angeles, California, Samantha Swama. A data analyst from Arlington, Virginia, Steve Chiraldi. And our returning champion, a bartender from Old Orchard Beach, Maine, Dennis Coffey, whose 2 days and winnings total $39,202. And now, here is the host of Jeopardy, Alex Trebek.
Good audience here today. Steve and Samantha, welcome aboard. Good luck to you and you also, Dennis. Let's go to work right now in the Jeopardy round. One daily double will appear in one of these categories. Check out the critter. Ooh. Next, grave site offerings, followed by words from mythology, spaces, sports definitions, and finally, I missed the start of that nursery rhyme, so you have to provide the part that we left out. Dennis, start us.
Mythology for 600.
Step right up and identify this musical instrument that bears the name of a muse. Samantha?
What is a calliope?
Correct, you're on the board.
Words for mythology for 200.
An elaborate maze. Samantha?
What is a labyrinth?
Good.
Mythology 400.
This word, meaning given to quick and unpredictable mood changes, goes back to the Roman messenger god. Dennis?
What is imperial?
That's it.
Mythology for 800.
From the name of Rome's top god, it means full of good cheer. Samantha?
What is jovial?
Yes.
Mythology 1000.
From the name of the Greek goddess of vengeance, it's a long-standing rival or enemy. Dennis?
What is nemesis?
That's it.
Sports definition 600.
In pool, if you've sunk the cue ball or sent it flying into the bar area, you've done this foul and lost your turn as a result. Dennis,
You said
the scratch.
Yes.
Sports for 800.
Oh, I knew that.
Here's Sarah with the clue.
In figure skating, a long backward glide on the outside edge of one foot leads into a lutz. You face forward before leaping into the air to do one of these.
Axel.
Steve?
What is an axle?
Axel is right, and just a reminder for our viewers that the U.S. Figure Skating Championships are going on all this week. Steve, back to you.
Who cares?
Definitions 1,000.
When a soccer player dribbles the ball between the legs of an opponent, it's called
A nutmeg.
Steve?
What's a nutmeg?
Yeah.
Sports definitions 4.
Reaching this tessellated banner first means you've won an auto race. Steve?
What's a checkered flag?
Yes.
Check out the critter 600.
Less than an inch long, the sea bunny is this type of being with both male and female reproductive organs. Samantha?
What is asexual?
No. Dennis?
What's a hydra?
No. What is hermaphrodite? Back to you, Steve.
Check out the critter 400.
Get an E for effort with this egg-laying Aussie
Oh.
mammal. Here are its babies called puggles. Those are baby echidna. Cute little fellas. Steve?
Spaces 200.
3 basic types of home foundations are a basement, a slab, and this space you can slither into to access pipes. Dennis?
What's a crawl space?
You got it.
Gravesite offering 600.
Answer there. There you go. Oh.
Let's go with 1,000.
All right, here is the clue. Visitors often leave pennies face up on the Baltimore grave of this assassin.
John Wilkes Booth?
Who is Lincoln?
No. Pennies have the image of Lincoln. but it's the grave of John Wilkes Booth. Yeah. So you lost 1,000. Go again.
Go with 800.
Fans visiting Graceland sometimes leave these stuffed animals from a 1957 hit song on Elvis's grave.
Dogs?
Dennis.
What is teddy bear?
That's it.
Graceland offerings for 1,000.
A glass barrier now prevents visitors from kissing Oscar Wilde with lipstick in this storied Paris cemetery. Samantha?
What is Père Lachaise?
That's it. That doubles your score to 2,000, and it takes us right into this first commercial break. Stay with us.
Nearing retirement? Make sure you choose a Medicare Advantage plan that isn't missing something. With Independent Health, you'll have the only plan in Western New York recognized by U.S. News and World Report as Best Medicare Advantage Plan for 2020. Plus, we're the only local plan with a 4.5 out of 5-star rating. And we offer a variety of plan options, including a $20 plan. Before you make a decision, speak with a red shirt and get the personalized attention only we give you.
Let HEAP help you with your heating bills this winter. The Home Energy Assistance Program can help you with your heating bills. Apply today at 1-877-443-2743 or visit us online at heaphelps.com.
We all know that today's a fast-paced instant society. There's online banking, overnight delivery, TV streaming. Well, you get it. How about your refund money in less than 24 hours? Easy Taxes partners with Republic Bank to get you up to $6,000 advanced refund loan with no upfront money, all in less than 24 hours. Couple that with the lowest fees in the industry, and it's a win-win for you. This year, come join our family.
Nobody beats National Overhead Door when it comes to installation, repair, and maintenance of commercial and industrial doors. National offers same-day service, convenient appointment times, and remember, our fleet of experts are available 24/7 for your emergency repairs. National Overhead Door. Open up with the best.
With work, family, school, life gets busy. At New York State of Health, our job is to make one thing easier: your health care. You can compare low-cost plans with free preventive services and options with low premiums and low out-of-pocket costs. Expert navigators are here to provide one-on-one help and walk you through the process to determine if you qualify for financial assistance. Visit nystateofhealth.ny.gov. Enrollment ends January 31st.
Promotional consideration provided by FD-Guard, the pre-meal companion for meal-triggered indigestion.
Finally, there's something that helped with my indigestion and discomfort after eating. My doctor recommended FD-Guard. She told me FD-Guard is specially formulated with natural ingredients and can help with my meal-triggered indigestion. Ask your doctor about FD-Guard. Enjoy eating again.
Now at Walmart.
Samantha Slana is a high school English teacher from right here in Los Angeles, California. Also a coach
Yes.
of a very rough sport.
Yeah, I coach the girls lacrosse team at the high school where I teach, and they'll appreciate the story. I wear a Jeopardy hat, coach, because I want to remind them to play smart, and they know that when I take it off, they should maybe play a little smarter.
Do we see a lot of injuries in lacrosse?
Girls is a little less rough. The guys are the ones that can hit each other, so I think there's a little more finesse with the girls.
Good for you. There's always more finesse with the young ladies. Steve Schiraldi is from Arlington, Virginia. Wanted to be a TV weatherman forever. What are you doing, or what have you done to become a television weatherman?
Pretty much nothing.
Oh,
but,
it's going to be tough to become a TV weatherman.
It is. My friends all discuss, oh, Steve, ask me about what's the weather going to be today. So they give me a few nicknames for when I do make it on TV. They're going to call me Stevie Showers.
Oh, okay. Dennis Coffey, a bartender from Old Orchard Beach, Maine. But bartending is not all you do. You drive celebrities. You've done a lot of different things. Of all the jobs you've held, which one pleased you the most or was the most exciting?
Probably a convenience store clerk. No. Hard to say. I waited on a lot of celebrities as a bartender. I waited on Gary Merrill, who was, of course, the actor.
I'm familiar. You're going back a long
Yes,
time.
of course, he's probably best known. He's known for 12 O'Clock High. He's known as being Mr. Betty Davis.
Yeah. Okay, good. Let's get back to this one. Samantha's in command of the board, and that means she selects the next clue for us.
Gravesite offerings for $400.
Guitar picks are taped to this man's grave. inscribed 1942 to 1970 in Greenwood Memorial Park near Seattle. Dennis?
Jimi Hendrix. Who is Jimi Hendrix?
Yes.
Sports definitions for 200, please.
A dig and a spike are actions April Ross executes in this sport. Steve?
What is volleyball?
Good.
Spaces for 400.
Just like an amusement park, an airport has carousels in this area. Samantha?
What is the baggage claim?
Good.
Spaces for 6.
Named for its shape, it's the fighting area in a UFC cage. Dennis?
What's an octagon?
Correct.
Spaces for 800.
Crap.
It's a Spanish word for an interior courtyard, or an American word for a paved backyard area. Steve?
What's that, patio?
Patio, right you are.
Spaces for 1,000.
In the 1970s, Ed Mullinax Ford in Amherst, Ohio, had the world's largest one of these indoor spaces, holding 120 cars.
Garage.
Steve?
What's a garage?
Nope. Samantha?
What is a hair?
Nope. What is a showroom? Back to you, Steve.
Check out the critter for 800.
Despite its name, the Sunda flying this, an animal native to Madagascar, is not one, nor does it fly.
Flying
Samantha?
squirrel.
What is a squirrel?
No. Dennis?
What is a bat?
Nope.
They're not very good at this
Back to you,
game.
Steve.
Check out the critter 200.
Get me pictures of the Mwanza flat-headed rock agama, a lizard that looks like this Marvel superhero created in 1962. Steve?
Who is Spider-Man?
Yes, with less than a minute to go now.
Nursery rhyme for 400.
3 men in a tub.
Rub-a-dub-dub.
Samantha?
What is rub-a-dub-dub?
Good.
Nursery rhyme for 6.
The first star I see tonight.
Starlight,
Dennis?
starbright.
What is starlight, starbright?
Correct.
800 nursery rhyme.
How does your garden grow?
Mary,
Dennis?
Mary.
What is Mary, Mary, quite contrary?
That's it.
Nursery rhyme 1,000.
And can't tell where to find them. Dennis?
What is little Bo Peep has lost her sheep?
That's it.
Check out the critter 1,000.
The smallest of the foxes. This critter stands about 8 inches tall at the shoulders and weighs 3 pounds. Samantha?
What is a fennec fox?
Yes, good for you. Love those ears. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, Samantha will get to select first in Double Jeopardy. We've got some good talk though.
How'd she know that? I felt like I knew more of those than that.
A Buffalo priest is now suing the man who accused him of abuse. Plus, we're getting reaction tonight from local leaders on the governor's new budget plan. Tonight at 11.
Can't sleep? Make sleep problems a thing of the past. Thanks to a personalized solution at Dream Mattress Studio. It's mattress shopping made easy, online or at our real-life store. Sleep better for a dreamy price. Only at Dream Mattress Studio at Value City Furniture.
As more people choose cremation and create unique celebrations for their final arrangements, know that only Amagon can offer you the personalized service you desire. Choosing Amagon allows you to make choices that are important to you, giving you peace of mind.
Honda's sedan lineup is packed full of next-gen features. This is moving forward.
Shop Dream Mattress Studio this week for 20% off all Dream and Select Beauty Rest mattresses, plus 20% off all adjustable bases. And hurry in for dreamy savings on mattress doorbusters while they last. Only at Dream Mattress Studio at Value City Furniture.
Overnight tonight, any leftover snow flurries will be fading pretty early on. We'll still hold on to quite a bit of cloud cover and some cool temperatures. Latest on what you can expect for the rest of the week, including a warming trend coming up.